My 17-year-old daughter was banned from my sister's wedding for being too young. I didn't argue. I just said, we won't be attending. But when Christmas came, I made one quiet change, and the entire family lost it. Before I tell you my complete story, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. I'd love to know how far this story travels. My name is Claire Reynolds, and I've always been the responsible one. The oldest of 3 sisters, born in a small town in Oregon where family hierarchy meant everything. Growing up, I was the babysitter, the helper, the one who knew how to clean up the messes Tessa made and how to calm Rachel when she cried. Tessa was the star, loud, magnetic, dramatic. Rachel was the baby, the one who got away with everything. And me, I was the fixer, the dependable one, the girl who made things right even when they were already broken. Life didn't magically get easier when we grew up. I became a nurse, married a kind man named Ethan, and together we adopted Maya when she was 3. I still remember the day she first called me Mom. Her voice was so soft I almost didn't hear it, but I felt it like an earthquake in my chest. From that moment, I made a silent promise. Maya would never feel unwanted again. But promises are easy to make when you don't know who you're up against. When Tessa got engaged last spring, it was all over Instagram. The champagne proposal, the professional photos, the matching gold script hashtags. I congratulated her, of course. Maya even made her a card with tiny paper wedding bells and glitter that stuck to everything. Tessa smiled, said, "Oh, that's sweet," then left it in her car's back seat. I found it 2 weeks later, crumpled beneath an empty Starbucks cup. Still, Maya was excited about the wedding. She started browsing dresses online, asking me if she should wear her hair up or down. I could see it in her, that fragile kind of hope kids get when they still believe family means something good. Then, one afternoon, the invitation arrived. Thick paper, gold trim, the kind of fancy mail that smells like perfume and money. I opened it while Maya was doing her homework at the kitchen table. Everything looked normal until I read the last line. Adults only. 18 plus, strictly enforced. I froze. My stomach tightened as I reread it. Then Maya looked up at me, sensing something. "What's wrong?" she asked. "It's an adults-only wedding," I said carefully. She blinked. "So, I can't go." I hesitated. "Looks like it." Her voice went small. "Is it because I'm adopted?" That question broke something deep inside me. She said it so softly, not angry, not hurt, just resigned, like she'd been expecting it. I told her no, of course not. But inside I knew the truth. My family had never really accepted her. Not openly, but it showed up in the little things. The way my mother introduced her as Claire's girl, never our granddaughter. The way Tessa said, "Your daughter," like she was talking about a neighbor's kid. The way my father forgot her birthday 2 years in a row. They never said anything cruel. They didn't have to. Their silence did the job. I didn't fight. I didn't yell. I didn't ask for exceptions. I just went online and clicked not attending. No explanation. Just no. The next day, Tessa texted me. "Hey, just saw your RSVP. Is everything okay?" I stared at the message. Then another one came. "If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand. We're being consistent with everyone. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. Except that Maya wasn't everyone. She was her niece. My daughter." I didn't reply. A few hours later, my sister Rachel messaged me. "Tessa said you're not coming." "Why?" "You're making a big deal out of nothing." Then came a call from my mother. She never called unless something was wrong. "Claire," she said, "I heard you're not coming to the wedding." I said, "Maya's not invited." Mom sighed like I was being difficult. "Don't punish your sister over this. It's one night." I wanted to laugh. One night, sure, but the kind of night that tells a child exactly where she stands. "I'm not going without her," I said. And I hung up. That should have been the end of it, but of course it wasn't. The family group chat started buzzing. Passive-aggressive emojis, half-hearted justifications, guilt wrapped in politeness. "Rachel, you always make things about Maya. This isn't about her. Mom, we've all made sacrifices. Family means compromise. Tessa, I wish you'd understand, this rule applies to everyone. Everyone except the neighbor's kids who were invited as flower girls." Except Rachel's 17-year-old twins, who apparently didn't count because they were helpers. Maya stopped talking about the wedding. She deleted the dress photos she'd saved on her phone. She didn't cry, and that's what broke me the most. She'd already learned what I'd spent years pretending not to see. When Christmas came and no one had mentioned it, no apology, no acknowledgement, no nothing, I made a decision. A quiet one. This time I wouldn't invite them. No big announcement. No drama. Just silence. And that's what made them furious. When I was little, I thought motherhood would be simple: birthday cakes, scraped knees, bedtime stories. I never imagined it would mean protecting my child from the people who were supposed to love her too. After the wedding fiasco, something inside me shifted. I stopped trying to make my family like Maya. I stopped making excuses for their behavior. It wasn't anger anymore. It was clarity. When I adopted Maya, she was 3. Quiet, cautious, the kind of child who watched the world before stepping into it. She didn't trust easily, and she shouldn't have, not after everything she'd been through before me. The first time she reached for my hand without hesitation, I cried right there in the parking lot. Ethan, my husband, held me and said, "That's it. She chose you." And since then, I've chosen her every day. But my family never truly did. At first, I thought it was just awkwardness. Maya didn't have my eyes or my last name. She wasn't loud like the other kids in the family. She didn't force her way into conversations. She was soft-spoken, gentle, artistic. And somehow, that made her invisible to them. My mom called her the little one. Never Maya. Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" While Maya was standing right there. Rachel's kids got custom Easter baskets with their names on them. Maya got one with a Happy Spring sticker. It wasn't screaming prejudice. It was quiet dismissal. The kind that seeps in slowly until it fills a room. When Maya was 6, she told my dad she wanted to be an artist. He smiled and said, "You'll need something more practical than that." When she was 10, she drew a family portrait, me, Ethan, and her, and gave it to my mom. My mom said, "That's lovely," then set it on the counter. It never made it to the fridge like the other cousins' drawings. By the time she turned 15, Maya had stopped trying. She showed up to holidays polite but distant, quiet but observant. I saw it every time, the moment she realized she was tolerated, not loved. The worst part, I let it happen. I kept showing up, thinking my presence would somehow fix their absence. Last year, for her 17th birthday, we rented the community center. She displayed her paintings, small landscapes and portraits, all full of color. She sent invitations herself. My parents arrived 20 minutes late. They handed her a generic card that said, "To a sweet girl," with a $20 bill inside. They didn't stay long. When we got home that night, I found one of her sketches on the kitchen table. It was of the 3 of us, me, Ethan, and her. But our faces were blank. That's when I stopped hoping they'd change. A few months later, the wedding invitation, or rather, the lack of one, proved me right. So when December rolled around, I knew what I had to do. Ethan asked me one night, "Should I pull out the folding chairs for Christmas?" I shook my head. "Not this year." He didn't question it. He just nodded and said, "Good." Maya never asked. She sensed it before I said a word. As the days passed, the family group chat started buzzing. "Tessa, what are we bringing to Claire's this year?" "Mom, should we come the night before like always?" "Rachel, Claire, you there?" I didn't reply. I didn't send out the usual email or plan the menu. No big speech. No confrontation. Just silence. And somehow, that was the loudest thing I'd ever done. By December 20th, my phone was lighting up nonstop. My mom called first. I let it ring. Then Rachel. Then my dad. Finally, a voicemail from my father. "Claire, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing." The right thing. Like inviting people who excluded my daughter was some kind of moral duty. That year, we didn't host anyone. We stayed home in our pajamas. Ethan made lasagna instead of turkey. Maya baked sugar cookies shaped like stars and trees. Half of them fell apart, but she laughed anyway. We opened gifts early. We watched old movies. We didn't walk on eggshells or translate veiled comments. It was the calmest Christmas I'd ever had. But peace doesn't last long in families like mine. By Christmas Eve, the group chat came alive again. Tessa, I just think it's sad, Claire. We've all tried to welcome Maya, but you make it impossible to connect. Rachel, you can't cut off family every time there's a disagreement. That's not healthy. Dad, the way you're handling this is cruel. Then my mother sent a photo of their Christmas tree with the message. It wasn't the same without you. Maya would have loved her gifts. I stared at it for a long time. The line wasn't for me, it was bait. Guilt disguised as sentiment. But the truth is, they never bought those gifts for her. They bought them for their own conscience. So I didn't respond. A few days later, a card arrived in the mail. No return address, but I knew the handwriting immediately. It was from my mother. Inside, she'd written, I wish you'd think about the example you're setting. Maya will see how easily you shut people out. That line stuck with me. Because for once, she was right, but not in the way she meant. Yes, Maya would see. She'd see that love isn't about obligation. That kindness without respect isn't love. And that no one, not even family, gets to mistreat you and call it tradition. Winter came slow that year, heavy and gray. The kind that makes you notice every creak in the house, every shadow of memory. Maya was upstairs working on her art portfolio for college, charcoal sketches scattered across her floor like fallen leaves. Ethan was at work, and I was making tea when the doorbell rang. It was a Thursday. Ordinary, quiet, cold. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, they were standing there, my parents. My mom clutching a plastic container of oatmeal cookies, my dad behind her with that familiar look that always hovered between guilt and authority. My mother smiled too sweetly. Claire, she said, we thought we'd stop by. I didn't answer. I just looked at the container. The same cookies she used to make when I was a kid, soft in the middle, burnt around the edges. The kind she'd bake whenever she wanted to smooth things over. My dad cleared his throat. Can we come in? Just for a minute. No, I said simply. The smile faltered just a little. We just want to talk, my mom said, her voice syrupy rehearsed. Things got tense. But we're still your family. I didn't move. She held out the cookies like they were a peace offering. We thought we could start over. That's not how this works, I said quietly. Her tone shifted. You don't have to be like this, Claire. We know it's hard raising a teenager. You've been pushing everyone away. My father nodded. We gave you space. We've tried to be patient. And then my mom said the thing that snapped whatever thread of patience I had left. You're going to lose your real family over a girl who'll leave you in a few years. She's not blood, Claire. She's not really one of us. It was the way she said it. Gentle, like she thought she was doing me a favor. Like she expected me to nod and say you're right. I stepped back and said, evenly, you need to leave. Right now. My dad looked shocked. Claire. No, I said louder this time. You don't get to come here, insult my daughter, and act like that's kindness. You don't get to hurt her and then bake cookies about it. My mom's face hardened. You'll regret this, she said. When she leaves you, when she forgets you, you'll come crawling back. And our door will still be open. She said it like a curse. I didn't reply. I just closed the door. I stood there for a long moment, leaning against it, listening to their footsteps fade down the porch. The smell of cookies lingered, sweet, suffocating, hollow. Later that night, I told Ethan. He didn't say much, just pulled me into his arms and whispered, You did the right thing. But I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about what she said. She's not blood, and how easily that sentence carried everything they'd never said aloud. The next morning, I told Maya the truth. She was sitting at the kitchen table, sketching, pencil tapping softly. I hesitated, but I've never lied to her, not about anything that mattered. They came by yesterday, I said. She didn't look up. What did they want? To talk, I said. To say some things they shouldn't have. Her pencil stopped moving. What kind of things? I took a breath. They said you're not really one of us. That someday you'd leave, and I'd regret choosing you over them. For a moment, she didn't move. Then she looked up, and I'll never forget her expression. Her eyes were steady, not watery or angry, just clear. They really think I'll leave you? She asked softly. No, I said. They hope you will, because then I'd need them again. She nodded slowly, processing, her lips tightening just enough to hold the emotion in. They don't get to hope things about me, she said. And just like that, she went back to her sketch, stronger than I'd ever been at her age. I wish I could say that was the end of it. But people like my family don't let go, they just change tactics. A week later, my cousin Sarah forwarded me an email. It was from Rachel. A mass message sent to the entire extended family. Subject line, "We're worried about Claire." The email was long, dramatic, and cruel in that fake concern kind of way. She wrote that I'd distanced myself from everyone because of a girl who manipulates her way into Claire's life. She called Maya difficult, distant, ungrateful. She said I'd become obsessed with protecting her from imaginary slights. It was vile. But worse, it worked. The next day, my phone started buzzing. "Aunt Linda, are you okay, honey? We're worried." "Uncle John, your parents are devastated. You should call them." Even my second cousin, Chloe, commented under one of Maya's art posts. "You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home." Maya saw it. I saw her see it. That was the moment something in me snapped, but not in rage. In resolve. I didn't send an emotional reply. I didn't argue. I built a record. Screenshots. Texts. Photos. Every quiet exclusion. Every insult wrapped in politeness. I gathered them all, not for revenge, but for truth. Then I wrote a letter. Not emotional. Not angry. Just factual. I titled it, "For Those Who Want the Full Story." In it, I explained everything, from the Easter baskets to the wedding band, from the words my mother said on my porch to the comment under Maya's post. I didn't ask for sympathy. I didn't demand sides. I just gave them the truth. I sent it once, to the entire family. Some replied with apologies. Some stayed silent. Some unfriended Rachel. Some didn't believe a word. It didn't matter. Because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for Maya, so she'd never, ever wonder if she imagined it all. So she'd never again ask me, "Do you think they'd like me if I was blood?" After that, I blocked everyone who tried to argue. Everyone who said, "Maybe if you just talked it out." Everyone who believed family peace was worth a child's pain. And then it was quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like healing. After that letter, silence became our closest friend. The kind that hums softly in the corners of your home and lets you breathe again. No calls, no texts, no guilt disguised as family love. Just peace. Before I tell you how it all ended, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. I'd love to know how far this story travels. Weeks turned into months, and the absence of their chaos felt like sunlight after years of storm clouds. There was no longer that familiar anxiety that came with every holiday season, wondering what backhanded comment would sting this time. It was just still. Ethan noticed it too. One night, while we were cleaning up after dinner, he said quietly, "You seem lighter." I looked up from the sink and smiled. "I am." He nodded, then added, "It's strange, isn't it? How peaceful life can feel once you stop explaining yourself." He was right. A few months later, Maya got her acceptance letter to the California Institute of the Arts. She stood in the kitchen, holding the envelope, her eyes wide, her voice shaking. "Mom," she whispered, "I got in." I screamed. We danced right there between the refrigerator and the counter, spinning until she laughed so hard she almost cried. "When I told Ethan," he said, "I knew she would. She's you with a paintbrush." But later that night, I found Maya sitting quietly in her room, staring at one of her old paintings, the one where our faces were blank. "You okay?" I asked, sitting beside her. She nodded. "Yeah, I just wish they could have seen this." For a second, my stomach clenched. Not out of anger, but out of recognition. Because even after everything, there's still that small, hopeful piece of you that wants the people who hurt you to be proud of you. I didn't tell her not to feel that way. I just said, "They chose not to see it, honey. That's on them, not you." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Do you think they'll ever change?" "I think they already did," I said softly. "Just not in the way we hoped." She smiled a little at that, sad but knowing. When the time came to move her into her dorm, the car was full of canvases and paintbrushes, all bundled carefully in bubble wrap. Ethan drove, and Maya sat in the back humming to a song on the radio, her sketchbook open on her lap. When we pulled up to campus, I could feel my throat tighten. She got out, looked around, and said, "I think I'll like it here." She hugged me for a full minute. Then she whispered, "I'm not going anywhere, Mom." And I believed her. I watched her walk toward the dorm, confident, independent, free. The girl they once called, not family, had built herself a future without them. On the drive home, Ethan reached over and squeezed my hand. "You did good," he said. But the truth was we did good. All three of us. We chose each other, over blood, over guilt, over every rule that said family is unconditional no matter how cruel it gets. A few weeks later, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name written in my mother's handwriting. Inside was a single photo, my parents standing in front of a small, shabby duplex. My mom's eyes looked tired. Across the back, she'd written, "We're surviving without you. Hope you're proud." I folded the photo once, placed it in a drawer, and said quietly to no one, "I am." A few months after that, Rachel posted something on Facebook, a vague quote about forgiveness, tagged with #FamilyFirst. I scrolled past it. Then she posted an old photo of the three of us sisters as kids with the caption, "Miss when things were simple." The comments poured in. People said things like, "Families fight but always find their way back." Someone even tagged me asking, "What happened?" I didn't reply. I didn't have to. Because people like Rachel need an audience to feel right. I didn't know her one. Life moved forward. The quiet turned into normalcy. Our house became a place of art, laughter, music, and unconditional love. Maya visited often, sometimes bringing her new projects. One afternoon, she showed me a painting she'd done. A woman standing on a cliff, holding a little girl's hand, both facing the ocean. She said, "It's us." I smiled. "It's beautiful." She nodded. "It's peace." And that's exactly what it was. Every now and then, I still wonder if I went too far, if there was a way to fix things without cutting them off completely. But then I remember the look in Maya's eyes the day I told her, "They don't get to treat you like that." I remember how she exhaled like she could finally breathe. And I realize, protecting your child isn't going too far. It's going far enough. 2 years later, at her art showcase, Maya stood in front of her newest collection, a series called Chosen. The first piece was titled Family Rewritten. Underneath it, in tiny letters, she'd written, "Love is not inherited. It's chosen." That night, as people crowded around to take photos, I stood in the back, hands clasped, trying not to cry. Ethan leaned close and whispered, "You see that? You didn't just protect her. You gave her wings." I smiled. "Yeah." And she flew. When we got home, the house was dark and quiet. The kind of quiet that means peace, not loneliness. I sat by the window, the moonlight spilling across the floor, and whispered the same promise I made the day I met her. "I'll always choose you." Because I did. Every single time. If you were in my place, would you have done the same? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one.